Hello all, welcome back to James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade, and I am here again with the political process. I'm really enjoying this game. Before I get started talking about the game and getting into things like that, if you are the age of 13 or under, please exit stage right. This content is not for you. This content is made for adults. Alright. So, I just want to mumble a bit about political content from kind of maybe a first day playing review point of looking at things. So, the game has a lot of depth. It really does. It evidently has a one-person development team, so kind of like tying in with RimWorld. I see this as being another one of these amazing gems from a small developer. Though you could tell it is by a small developer. While it's very meaty, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of stuff to do, and it's very well fleshed out and very thorough in a lot of ways. It's kind of empty in others. And I believe this is still early access. I believe this is still an alpha phase of the game. Hopefully, this developer can, I don't know, earn some money, make some cash off of this game, or at least improve his reputation, as we do in the political world of his game, so that maybe he can ask for some crowdfunding to expand upon the game. I think would definitely be something I would be interested in, is giving a little money to this guy to expand upon the game itself. Like, I'd love to see geographical map representation of the rallies that we go to while we're campaigning, instead of just, being in text. You're going to Inglade County, or you're going to Price County, or Polk, or Taylor, or Bayfield, or whatever. These are all counties within the state of Wisconsin. Games like this that make you travel to geographical regions inside of them are great when they actually have a map and geographical representation, because then the game, while it's already kind of a learning tool, there's a lot to learn here about how the political system works in general. But then again, this is still a game. This is not a perfect representation of politics by any means. But having those geographical features could help this game be more of a learning tool for some people playing. Because, let's face it, who knows the counties of states? I mean, you could probably find a lot of people that know states and their capitals, and countries and their capitals. But when you start getting down to the county level of various different states, that's a level of that's a level that a lot of people geographically just don't get to actually knowing. And a game like this that could have people experiencing new places could definitely help to teach people things like the geography of various different states and what their county makeup looks like. And certainly what the political makeup of those counties look like. That's quite interesting too. So that's one little thing I would like to see in the game coming forward, is some sort of travel map for rallies. This would be cool, so that you could actually see what your congressional district looks like on a map. But I suppose if you're really curious, you can go Google any of these congressional districts and probably see a graphical representation on the interwebs. Anyway, with that being said, we have been elected to the House of Representatives. We are part of Congressional District 7, which is up in northern Wisconsin. And yeah, we need to make our way to Washington now. So that's going to involve me hitting the next turn button a few times so that I can get to the point to where I take my job. And then we will need to learn how to play the game from an actual elected politician standpoint instead of one who is campaigning. So I'm looking forward to that. We have a message up here. A message from campaign opponent. Congratulations on winning the election. Thank you, or thank you. Thanks, you were a worthy opponent. So, I'd love to see a little more robustness here, with maybe some consequences tied to them. Maybe if I'm too snide with my opponent, it might anger her base or something. Maybe an option to say something other than thanks to your opponent, like, you could show you're a poor winner by chastising her or something like that. These feel like very empty options. Along with the parade that you go to in Thanksgiving, where you get this little thing to read, and that's that. It's like, why did I go to the parade? It would be cool if you go to the parade and you possibly could run into, I don't know, people that support you, or maybe people that are against you, and you can have conversations that might be able to sway them to your base or not, so that you, I don't know, so it helps you for your upcoming campaign next year. That the Thanksgiving parade thing could be something a little more than just going and watching a parade. Alright, anyway, I'm going to stop talking about little things like that and just get into enjoying this game. This game is quite enjoyable. So we're going to hit next turn. Hours remaining. 5 hours. Interesting. What can I do with these hours right now? They don't trust me. Let's attend the event. Teachers are one of the most noble, important professions in any society. Yeah, you're right. But their salary does not reflect their importance. I don't quite agree with that. Teachers are very well paid. Higher salaries will attract better quality teachers, which will improve student performance. Possibly depends on the school district you're in, I suppose, but I know lots of teachers that have been sitting in their jobs for a very long time because they're really good jobs and they're not about to give them up. All children should have access to preschool. I don't disagree with that. Free community college for all students would be great. I completely disagree with that. It would significantly increase the number of skilled workers, and it would not be that expensive. It might even pay for itself. Increasing the number of skilled workers will increase salaries, which means higher tax revenues. Alright, maybe if those community college jobs were dictated to relevant jobs that the workforce most needs, then maybe that could be a compromise that we could work towards. But community college could be for a whole host of things, and it could be for jobs that just aren't needed in the market. We already have free public education, though, through high school. Why not extend it to community college? Because it costs money, man. It costs money. University tuition costs should be as low as possible so that more individuals can attend college. An educated workforce is the only way to stay competitive in the global economy. Well, the tuition thing, that's between the universities. They're competing with each other, right? But are they? One university or one college alma mater gets the quote-unquote elite stigma, like your Harvards and your MITs and such. And so, is Harvard really the best possible school you can go to for law? It might be. It very well could be. But are there other lower cost law schools that possibly have every bit as good of a what's the word I'm looking for? Teachers that are teaching their students as effectively or maybe more effectively than those in Harvard. And the cost for that university could possibly be cheaper because it's not Harvard. The free market enterprise, I don't think it translates very well in alma maters and colleges, does it? Or does it? I don't know for sure. That would be something interesting for people to look into is to do a deep dive on colleges and universities that are not the big names and see just how much they teach for their cost and how respected a degree from them is. I can attend an event with the National Medical Association. They don't think much of me. I got more trust out of it, so I guess this is probably a good way to use these hours I have right now. Yeah, a little more trust. Up to 46. $62. 52. These guys have made some contributions towards me. Thanks, Ted. There are a lot of these things. Alright, that's enough of that. Still have 5 hours remaining. Wonder how I can spend it. A protege is a person who is guided by a mentor. Sure, how about city council? Could I get some information about these guys? Tom Colbert, huh? Sure, why not? Can I see anything about him? Not really, evidently. Attend the damn parade. Well, maybe we'll attend the parade to see if it's any different from a person who has won an election standpoint. You get up early in the morning so you can get a good position at the parade. Overall, enjoyable experience. You return home for a pleasant Thanksgiving dinner. No, same thing. It needs to be a place where you can find these events that aren't hidden underneath the menu under a menu. any of you guys doing anything? No. Organizations seem to be the only ones that have any events at this point in time. None had anything that time. Nothing on those guys, okay. Just don't want to miss anything that I could have been doing leading up to getting in office. Alright, here we are. Welcome to your first term as a congressional representative. This is your office. It is where you will conduct all of your congressional responsibilities. Whenever an activity is added to your schedule, you can find it in the Summary tab within the Office tab. If you want to create legislation, you can go to the Legislation tab and click on the tab that says Create Legislation. If you made any campaign promises, you can find those in the Challenges tab. Good luck. Select your committees, exclusive committees. So I have 3 committees to choose from: Judiciary, Oversight and Government Reform, and Veterans Affairs. I think I'm going to go with Oversight. I can be in more than one committee, can I? Okay, well then, Veterans Affairs. Judiciary too? Okay, I'll be in all 3 committees. How's that? You may not serve in more than 2 committees. Okay, then why'd you let me select it? Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Select your subcommittee. Oh, a lot of unavailable stuff. I guess I will select Healthcare, Benefits, and Administrative Rules. Veterans Affairs. boy. The murky waters of the VA. Disability. Select a caucus. The Moderate Republican Caucus. Alright, it's week 1, 2021, and we are on the job. City laws take effect this year, state laws taking effect this year. You have unfilled protege slots to select new proteges. You can go to the protege tab. City, state, and federal departments have updated their annual reports. You can view these reports by going to the political menu. Caucus chair introduction, party leadership introduction. Well, let's go meet the caucus chair. Welcome to Congress. I'm glad you're part of our caucus. I will be the chair of the caucus this year. Whenever new legislation comes to the floor, I will let you know my opinion about the legislation. I look forward to following your capable leadership. I hope we can accomplish great things this year. I'm dedicated to representing the interests of our caucus and the constituents that it represents. Yes, I represent the constituents. I don't represent Warner Coons. Just want to make sure you're aware. Okay, party leadership. Welcome to Congress. I'll be your party leader this session. Whenever new legislation comes to the floor, I will let you know the party's position on the legislation. I will do my best to represent the will of my constituents, even if that means diverging from the party platform. I hope you understand I am a maverick at heart. Mr. Reginald Scott. Alright, so we've got that and that and that. Now what? Okay, reduce the budget deficit. Challenge expires. Week 1, 2020. Initial deficit, Completion reward, 1,303 political points. I can still fundraise? Interesting. How much money did that generate? It was... Let's take a look at this closer. Income tax. Okay, 27 is the third tax bracket. We're at 386 billion. Up to 429 billion. So that's a net gain of 343 billion. I can't touch the second bracket. I should have wrote down what it was before. It was at 40, right? It's close enough. So it was at 22.3.3-ish. Down to 20.12. So that's a difference of 2.2 billion to make our tax system a little fairer to those. Fourth tax bracket, maybe I could bring them up to 36 too. And we'll have them split the middle. Okay, there we go. We'll leave exemptions and deductions alone. That's right, James Johnson is in, and he's raising taxes. All right, now that I've created my legislation, is there a way to talk with people about supporting it? Can I talk to you, Moses Smith? Can I talk to the caucus here? Okay, we gave a couple of speeches. I like that retiree association. Do I have any more hours to give another speech? How about marathon? Do not have hours. Your bill, HR1, has been assigned to the House Ways and Means Committee. Chairperson Eve Warren has granted your bill a hearing. Political influence, HR1. Your experience and political reputation have influenced the vote of politicians and changed the vote of 0 politicians. Your legislation, HR1, has made its way out of committee with a vote of 23 to 16. It made its way through the committee? Really? Budget resolution. Mitch Keys, Democrat. The budget resolution is not a law. It is a congressional guideline that expresses how much money the federal government should collect and spend. The resolution divides the federal budget into multiple categories and then places a limit on how much money can be spent in each of those categories. The Appropriations Committee uses the category limit when creating appropriation bills, the bill that authorizes how much money each government agency and program can spend. Increase. That's an increase of revenue. So government wants to spend more money. No, I oppose. The budget resolution has been rejected. Everyone voted no. Well, hot diggity. Alright, These old folks love me. Alright, we're out of hours. Alright, floor debate, HR1 income tax, amendment vote, HR1 income tax. An income tax collects money from an individual income in order to help fund the government. Traditionally, U.S. income tax is based on tax brackets or income levels. As an individual income level increases, that individual's tax rate increases. Increase third bracket rate from 27 to 30. Increase fourth tax bracket price from 30 to 33. Decrease sixth tax bracket rate from 40 to 36. This legislation will help the government fund important programs and services. I may support this legislation in the upcoming vote. Middle-class citizens already pay enough in taxes. Their taxes should not be increased. I will either support or oppose this legislation in the upcoming vote. Amendment vote. Daniel Ferris, Democrat, Colorado. An income tax collects money from an individual income. Amendment to proposal. Decrease third bracket from 30% to 28.5%. Increase sixth bracket from 36 to 38. Alright, well, so the sixth bracket was at 40, and I believe the third bracket was at 27. So she's just basically cutting the changes in half on those two brackets. And I suppose I could support this to seem more, what's the word I'm looking for? Cooperative? Because I'm still making positive directions in the directions I want to go. So I will support this amendment. And a bunch oppose. Interesting. President supports HR1. Really? I can tell that the sponsor of this legislation worked very hard and did a very good job. This legislation has my full support. This is a good piece of legislation. This legislation needs your support. Not right for our constituents. I would like you to oppose this legislation. I hope this legislation is not passed, but there is a chance that it could find enough support. We request our colleagues to help oppose this legislation. This legislation's not right. Our caucus will be supporting this legislation in the upcoming vote. We urge everyone to support the legislation. I believe this legislation has been written with the best intentions, but I do not believe it would be good for our constituents. We must oppose it. We would greatly appreciate any colleague who joins us in rejecting this legislation. This legislation will have effects, and those effects should be considered before deciding how to vote. Members of our caucus have decided how they will vote. I support my bill, of course. The bill has passed in the House of Representatives and will now be sent to the Senate for committee hearings. So it was 266 with a lot of my colleagues, the more conservatives, opposing. But we're making progress here. Your legislation has been approved by the House with a vote of 266 to 169. Excellent. My approval rating is tanked. A new challenge has appeared in your challenge tab. Your bill HR1 has been assigned to the Senate Finance Committee. Chairperson Lucian Knowles has granted your bill HR1 a hearing. Political influence HR1. Your experience and political reputation have influenced the vote of 0 politicians and changed the vote of 0 politicians. Your legislation HR1 has made it out of committee with a vote of 16 to 7. I'm getting some challenges to legalize the sale and possession of cannabis. Drug use may be foolish, but that should not make it criminal. While addictive and dangerous substances like alcohol and tobacco are legal, the same privileges has not been extended to marijuana, but there are many benefits to legalizing marijuana. Its sale and purchase can be regulated. The gang violence associated with its black market status will disappear. The exorbitant cost of imprisoning marijuana users would be eliminated, and the potential tax revenue from a sales tax in cannabis would help the state provide more funding for valuable programs. Excuse me. Sounds like a good bill, actually. A new challenge has appeared in your challenge tab. Your schedule is currently empty. Write legislation that legalizes the sale and possession of cannabis. Challenge expires da-da-da. Get 110 political points. Constituent request. Increase military budget. I'm not increasing the military budget, sorry. Fundraising events. Why are there fundraising events? Political influence, HR1. Your experience and political reputation have influenced the vote of 0 politicians. Your legislation, HR1, has been approved by the Senate with a vote of 52 to 48. Your bill, HR2, has been assigned to the House Judiciary Committee. Chairperson Gabe Frost has granted your bill a hearing. Political influence, HR2. Your experience and political reputation have influenced the vote of 0 politicians and changed the vote of 0 politicians. Your legislation, HR2, has made it out of committee with a vote of 26 to 13. President Josh Byrd has signed your bill, HR1, into law. Woohoo! Our very first piece of legislation has made it through. We have raised taxes, everyone, on the middle class. And we have lowered taxes on the most financially wealthy. Now, just to reiterate, the lowering of taxes was just to kind of make it a little bit fairer, because I think a 40% tax bracket on anyone is a bit too high. Tax bracket 2, I'd love to lower it, but can't, because it's the bulk of the money being brought in, so it needs to just stay. But I would like to see tax brackets 3, 4, 5, and 6 all turning into basically a flat tax rate of maybe somewhere around 30 to 33, just so it's all equal across the board. And even maybe tax bracket 1 being lowered. Alright, so we've done all that. Woohoo. Things are going well. Let's there needs to be a bit more that you can do with your office hours while you're in office, I guess. Realistically, are you going to be writing legislation constantly? No. Realistically, I would think you would be stumping or trying to talk to your colleagues about supporting what legislation you do have, or talking about legislation they made and supporting them. So I would think that there should be, I don't know, some ability to go talk to various individual politicians with your office hours to try to sway their opinion, or at least make, a backroom deal that, hey, if you support mine, I'll support yours. But I'm not seeing that here, and I'm kind of disappointed. I was definitely hoping that would be here. So far, what I'm doing with my hours is I'm going to contacts, and I'm giving speeches on behalf of organizations. I'm doing a lot for the Retiree Association because they seem to really like me, or they seem to really make people like me. Let's put it that way. Alright, here we got a bunch of stuff. Alright, legislation H.R. 2, legality of cannabis. Sponsor James Johnson. Description: this legislation specifies whether the sale or possession of cannabis should be legal or illegal. The legislation proposal legalizes the sale of cannabis marijuana, legalizes the possession of cannabis marijuana. So, it is hypocritical to imprison people for using cannabis, but not imprison them for alcohol or tobacco use. I may support this legislation, or I may oppose it. By legalizing the use and sale of cannabis, we will greatly reduce the amount of gang crime associated with the sale of cannabis. I support this legislation. Medicaid. Medicaid is a state and federally funded program that helps provide low-income individuals with access to health care. Increase the Medicaid eligibility rate from 133% of the poverty level to 142% of the poverty level. Current eligibility rates for Medicaid are adequate. I will be opposing the legislation. Provide access to free community college for all students. This will likely produce workforce that's more skilled, blah blah blah. Free community college would not be a good use of federal resources. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this bill. Education grants for low-income communities. Provide education grants to communities with a high percentage of low-income students. The purpose of this program is to help ensure that economically disadvantaged students receive a high-quality education. Legislation proposal: increase eligibility rates from 100% of the poverty level to 103.4% of the poverty level. Everyone should have equal access to quality education. We cannot afford to increase spending for this program. I oppose this legislation. Corporate tax. Sponsor Eve Warren. Description: a tax on the income of corporations. 23 to 25%. Increasing tax on corporations will benefit the average citizen by allowing the government to provide more services. No, it won't. Increasing taxes on corporations will make corporations leave the country and thus lose people jobs. Corporations use their profits to innovate and hire new employees. If we increase their tax rate, those innovations and jobs will not be created. I will either support or oppose this legislation in the upcoming vote. Ashley Lenz has created a very good piece of legislation. I'm proud to support it. James Johnson has created a very good piece of legislation. I'm proud to support it. Well, thank you, President. I should probably figure out what these HRs are, because I'm sure I'm going to have to vote for them. Party leadership opposes HR 3 in its current state. Feel free to make any amendments you believe would improve it. I want you to oppose HR 8 in its current state. You can make any amendments to it that you want. Message from House Minority Leader: oppose HR 12. So I'm taking some notes right now because I think this is all gonna get a little confusing. Legislation this bad should not be allowed to become law. You're not foolish enough to support this legislation, are you? I want you to oppose HR 7 in its current state. You can make amendments to it if you want. Okay, HR 12 is free community. Free community college. 2 is my cannabis law. 7 is Medicaid. 8 is grants for low-income school districts. And 3 is corporate tax. Wait, I didn't want to do that. Grants for low-income school districts. House Minority Leader. Oppose Ep.7. I'm not going to support H.R. 3. Where was it at? Darn it, it went away. Ah! So there's some, I guess, learning that is rather brutal. You can't just click out and come back in. There needs more information up at the screen, like what was the old rate, what's the new rate, what's the difference, so that I know what I'm setting when I'm trying to do an amendment. I screwed that amendment up, and now, yeah, I don't even get a chance to amend it anymore. Cannabis legality. I support it. Vote on legislation HR 12 free community college. I oppose. Oh, really? A new challenge has appeared. Chairperson Willard Barr has denied your bill HR2 a hearing. Your bill HR13 has been assigned to the House Education and Workforce Committee. Chairperson Ashley Lenz has denied your bill a hearing. Okay. Public housing, sponsored Norbert Woods. Description: helps provide affordable housing to low-income individual and families by having the government pay a percentage of the individual or family's rent. Legislation proposal: decrease eligibility rate from 15% of the poverty level to 13.3% of the poverty level. Affordable housing programs are important. Blah blah. I support reducing the eligibility rate for this program. I reckon I will support this legislation. Okay, so I'm just going to go down the list for each individual one. That seems like a better way to do it. So, party leader, I hope you will support S1 without any amendments. Message from caucus leader: support. Hope you'll support S1 without any amendments. Okay. This decreases eligibility rate from 15 to 13.3. No. Wait, what's this? This is an amendment. The amendment did not receive enough votes to become part of the bill. Okay, decrease eligibility rate from 15 to 13.3. I support. Both chambers of Congress have passed the bill in identical form. The bill will now be sent to the President. HR 9. This is good. Didn't I already look at this? Need-based preschool. Huh? Let's look at this one. Provides preschool to children from low-income households. Increase eligibility rate from 100% of the poverty level to 114.9% of the poverty level. After analyzing this legislation, it's my conclusion that it should become law. This proposal would increase the number of children with access to preschool. This legislation has my support. I want you to oppose HR 9 in its current state. You can make any amendments to it you want. I want you to support HR 9 in its current state. I like the concept, but I think it's a little broad. Yes, I'm going to create an amendment. Okay, we're going to bring it down to 100. $9.3. Okay. Decreases eligibility rate. The amendment did not receive enough votes to become part of the bill. I hope this legislation is not passed, but there's a chance that it could find enough support. We request our colleagues to help oppose this legislation. So libertarians are against it. This legislation will have effect on those effects should be considered before deciding how to vote. Our colleagues will have to make a decision about whether to support or oppose this legislation. Well, that's broad. Our caucus supports this legislation. Of course you do. I can tell that the sponsors of this legislation work hard. Of course you do. President supports H.R. 9. Of course he does. Message from House Minority Leader. I oppose. Okay. Message from Caucus Leader. He wants to support. I really wish there was an option here for me to say, you know, Caucus Leader, I don't know about supporting this one. You know, we tried to amend it down a little bit, which would have been a little bit better, I think, but, you know. Deciding how to vote once you consider consequences. You know, because it's too broad reaching, I tried to bring it down. I do like the concept of preschool for low-income families so that it can help them with the child care expenses. This is a good thing, but to 114% of the poverty level is a bit broad. So I'm going to oppose. Alright, now it's time for the gasoline tax. That's a pretty big jump. Party leader is saying, of course. Oppose it. It's against what we believe in. Message from caucus leader, oppose it. So in the interests of fair play here, there's no way you're getting this through in its current form. So if you want to get this through, the same damn thing again. It doesn't show me what the old was. Alright. Decrease tax rate. Got overwhelming support. The amendment has passed and will be added to the bill. So we've gone from 0.184 up to 0.19. So it's a very minor hike. I support it. It didn't pass anyway. Okay, that's fine. HR5. What was HR5? Gasoline tax, okay. My approval rating is going down. there's nothing, no way to adjust, to do anything with defense, is there? Alright, let's go back to our contacts and give some speeches. Oops. We love old people. Chairperson Luther Huff has denied Bill H.R. 9 a hearing. What was that one? Tobacco tax. Message from House Minority Leader, support H.R. 9. Message from Party Leader, oppose H.R. 6. Such as cigarettes, huh? Increased tax rate from... That's a very minor increase. I don't see any need to increase the tobacco tax right now. I don't see any reason not to increase the tobacco tax, to be honest. This doesn't feel like any significant change or reason to even fight. Alright, so if I was to amend the tobacco tax, it would be to increase the tobacco tax, though it doesn't seem like my caucus or the more conservative Republicans are having it, and so there's no way this tobacco tax raise is getting through, and certainly it wouldn't get through if I raised it any more than it currently is. So I'm not going to bother amending it, and I'm going to vote no on it because it's not worth the political capital. I should stay in lockstep with my party on this because there's no reason to piss them off, because this minor increase is not going to net any positive gains. Okay, now we have H.R. 8. Message from House Minority Leader, support H.R. 8. Support H.R. 8. moderate Democrats are supporting whatever this is, and most Republicans are supporting it. This is going to go through, whatever it is. Increase eligibility rate from 100% of the poverty level to 100.6 of the poverty level. Decrease average benefits per student from 1875 to 1850. This sounds very familiar. Provides educational grants to communities with high level percentage. Yeah, I support it. Bird is vetoed S1. Thought vetoes weren't in the game yet. Good. Alright, what challenges do we have? I'd like to decrease the military budget. I don't see how I can increase the military budget. Is that I don't see that in my purview here. Yes, I don't know how to affect the military budget. It's not in here. More people want a flat income tax. That would really affect low-income Americans right now. Like, a lot. We still haven't managed to get cannabis through. It got stopped in the Senate, didn't it? Let's give some speeches. Your bill, H.R. 14, has been assigned to the House Judiciary Committee. Chairperson Gabe Frost has granted your bill a hearing. Political influence, H.R. 14. Your experience and political reputation have influenced 0 politicians and changed the vote of 0 politicians. Your legislation, H.R. 14, has made it out of committee with a vote of 26 to 13. I'd like to start getting some renewable energy going, but I don't want to bankrupt us in the process, so small bill. I've lost trust with you. Why? Alright, I think in week 12 we'll end this video because the video is starting to feel a little on the long side. I have a feeling that going through the complete life cycle of a senator, or not a senator, a congressman, is going to take a little while, which is cool. Definitely all for that. My approval rating is still tanking. Week 11, 2021. Your bill, H.R. 15, has been assigned to House Ways and Means Committee. Chairperson E. Warren has granted your bill a hearing. Political influence, H.R. 15. Your experience and political reputation have influenced 0 politicians. Your legislation, H.R. 15, has been rejected by committee with a vote just completely flat out. No way, Jose. Everybody loves weed except the Senate. Oh, and the crankiest side of the Republican Party, evidently. Oh, libertarians don't want weed. I support it. So, I wonder what I can do to improve people's opinion of me. Concepts. Huh. That's government approval, isn't it? Approval rating. Yeah, it must be for the entire government. We'll give our usual retirement speeches. Alright, we're in week 12. Your bill, H.R. 14, has been assigned to the Senate Judiciary Committee. Chairperson Willard Barr has denied your bill a hearing. So, once again, Cannabis died in the Senate. Okay, so now we're going to actually put a cut in the episode. So, this has been the first 12 weeks of me as a new congressman. I managed to get a bill through in regards to, what was it in regards to? H.R. 1 actually passed completely and went to the president and passed. H.R. 1 was, it should be Income tax. Right. How I got that through when I can't get cannabis through is beyond me. I literally raised taxes, and it went through the Senate. Fine. Oh, I was decreasing the tax credit from .02 to .01? Well, I had no idea I was decreasing it. See, that's why when you're doing these things, it needs to show you what it currently is. I did that bill thinking there was no tax credit at all for renewable energy at that point in time. Alright, but yeah, as I was saying, I should put a cut in the episode. I am James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. And until the next time, all. Peace.